For centuries, Americans have proudly gone into battle to protect our nation. Many, though, have returned from the battlefield scarred by life-altering and permanent disabilities without a lasting tribute from the country they served. Finally, we will honor their enduring spirit through the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial in Washington, D.C.
My first cousin died in Vietnam. It took me years to visit the wall, the Vietnam Memorial Wall. There was a disabled vet in a wheelchair, and I said, "Where is the memorial for disabled American veterans?" He said, "There isn't one." I thought, okay, you've got to do this. Memorials are forever. And it's going to be worth all the years that I've worked on it. Absolutely worth it.
A memorial that pays tribute to the sacrifices of our brave veterans through all our wars is long overdue.
The American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial will be a symbol of lasting gratitude to the men and women whose lives were forever transformed in service to our country.
Well, I was stationed in Hamburg, Germany from 1985 to 1987. The driver of my vehicle lost control of the Jeep, then just flipped into the air and landed right on my pelvic cradle.
I was the Deputy National Security Advisor to President Reagan. And my secretary told me that one of my Army friends from Germany was calling. He said, Colin, Michael's been seriously hurt, but we don't think he's going to die. And that was a stunning statement.
My husband came home from work in the middle of the afternoon, and I knew immediately that there was something wrong. Our daughters were there, and I can see the pain and hurt on their faces. I remember the younger one just literally sinking to the floor, holding her face. All of us not knowing just exactly what had happened, but in fear for our boy.
By 6 o'clock that evening, I'm in a hospital fighting for my life.
And we immediately started to make plans to go to Germany to be with Mike.
Being there with him was what sustained me.
I remember something wonderful my mother said. I said, you know, hey, we ought to go dancing. And she looked at me with the gravest of tone and she said, I promise you we will again.
We knew we were in for a long period of time. He has been able to recover for the most part in terms of his contribution to society, his ability to work and to have a family. We have many veterans who have not been able to do that.
These people suffer often alone in a kind of quiet silence. They don't have a place for their stories to be told.
And that's why I think this project is so important.
These are people who made a sacrifice for the greater good. It's not an individual cause. It's a collective cause of American democracy.
The American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial will honor all of the brave men and women whose lives were transformed in service to our country.
I grew up in a real small town in Oregon. I grew up normal family, normal home. I was a healthy young man. I joined in 1999. I'd served 3 or 4 months in combat. I'd come home and I married the girl that I'd loved for a long time, and 3 months later I was ambushed. Just as I'd opened my door, the bomb went off and changed my life. I tried with everything in me to respond. The only thing that would come out were these deep, guttural screams. It was 5:30 or so and the sun was starting to rise. My hand was swelling and they took my wedding ring off. I wanted that wedding ring on when I died. So they had tied it around my wrists. They amputated my legs. It was a hard thing to wake up to. They came in with a phone and said, you want to talk to your wife? Picked up the phone and asked her if she could still love me, and she said, yes, you know, I'll be with you forever. When I got hurt, all my plans and everything was shattered.
Millions of disabled American veterans have triumphed over diversity to lead inspiring lives.
My life growing up, pretty much in the late 50s, early 60s, was pretty typical. Played football in high school, met my wife in junior high, and we married in 1966, and I was drafted in 1967. I was in Vietnam. Our platoon was on a patrol. One of us stepped on the booby trap landmine, and that's where I lost both my legs. Well, my daughter's wedding, when that came along, I believe in 1992, at that time I wasn't wearing both legs anymore. I had promised her since she was real little that whenever she got married I'd walk her down the aisle. So I went to the VA and they made me a new leg, and so the day of the wedding came and I walked my daughter down the aisle. A promise is a promise.
Our warriors come home injured with afflictions that they'll have for the rest of their lives. So we can never repay that. One of the best things that we can do for them, but to honor them, is not forget what they've done.
The American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial would like to acknowledge the following donors for their generous financial support. To make a tax-deductible donation, call 1-800-331-7590 or visit us online at www.avdlm.org and help honor our disabled American veterans.